Hello there, welcome to PvP. This is Dan. As we all know, Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens came out in December 2015. It was pretty fucking sweet, we enjoyed it. But at the end of October 2015 was when the final trailer was shown, and me and Callum sat down and we did what we like to do together really, which is speculate. That sounded like a euphemism, probably a poor choice of words. Ignore that. Either way, we had a chat about things that we'd like to see, what we thought we would see, and overall how we felt the film would turn out. Now, unfortunately, Callum doesn't know how to use a microphone very well, so his audio is a bit dodgy in this, which is why we decided not to put it up pretty much straight away. But now it's been a few months and pretty much everyone's already seen the film anyway, we thought it'd be quite fun to put it up so everyone could see what we got right, if anything at all. A few bits we did, most of it we didn't, but either way, it was all speculation. It was all a bit of fun, and we enjoyed doing it. So I hope you enjoy. Just turn up the volume a little bit, you should be able to make most things out. Thanks.
Hello, welcome to Podcast vs. Player. I'm Cal, and I am joined in the flesh by the Obi-Wan Denobi. It's only bloody Dan.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to talk about Star Wars.
We're going to talk more specifically about the new Star Wars.
Yes.
Force Awakens. I almost said Unleashed then.
Unleashed. Could have been.
Could have been.
But it's not.
Starkiller. It's all Starkiller.
Already jumping in.
Yeah, sorry.
It's something some of you may have already seen, but the trailer for the Force Awakens,
yes,
the last trailer,
the final trailer,
is out, and we still don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, the Disney and Lucasfilm have been pretty damn cagey about this whole situation, which is probably good in the long run because it means that people can speculate away, which is pretty much exactly what we're going to do. But the other bad side of it though is because there's not been any leaked shots or there's no leaked scripts, even for Finn, the new sort of main character by the looks of it. We haven't even got a last name for him, so they're being incredibly cagey. Yeah, it could just be some Adventure Time spin-off that they're going for. Seems unlikely, but you never know.
We've got nothing else to go on.
It's equally as likely with what we've got. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, the actual trailers that they put together are brilliant because they show nothing.
They show everything but nothing.
Yeah, they don't actually give anything away, but they show you enough to get people interested. You've got the original cast, you've got original vehicles, locations. There's going to be improvements on the technology and on the droids and stuff like that. So I think it could be a really good amalgamation of the sort of the original three films, and then update them as probably they tried to do with the next three that that didn't really work out. It was too CGI,
too shit.
That too. But they're trying to sort of mix the two together, and I think from what we've seen so far, now the PvP motto is always never trust a trailer. But in this case, we're pretty inclined to just assume that it's going to be pretty fucking bitchin'.
I literally bagged up my balls and handed them to him because
absolutely,
it looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think, honestly, we're not going to have enough time to sort of go into everything we think could happen, or at least speculate as to what would happen. But we're going to try and cover some main points anyway. So do you want to talk a little bit about some of the people that we know are in it and what we know about them?
Well, we have scoured the internet and we've come up with some stuff of our own, but we've tried to get as much information as possible, and it's pretty limited. Obviously the big story hitter is Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is he?
Or she?
Well, obviously a man, because it's played by a man.
Well, we don't know that yet. It could all be a big ruse by Disney.
Yeah, that's true. They could have cast him as somebody else and said it's somebody else.
Yeah, and they'll go, gotcha.
He's Jar Jar Binks. From what we have gathered, Kylo Ren was the name assumed by a male member of the Knights of Ren and an ally of the First Order approximately 30 years after the Battle of Endor. Something which I found really interesting, but again, don't take anything out of this, because this is literally just coincidence
more than anything. I think it's people just trying to find things, just go, well, if you mix the two and then you take away the amount of people there are, and then all of a sudden you get this crazy it's exactly that. But
basically, if you get Skywalker and Solo, take away most of the letters, you're left with Kylo. But I imagine there's a lot of names you could do.
Well, you could do the same thing with the exact same names. You could have Wallow. You just take W-A-L-O, Wallow.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, if they've done that, it's basically the equivalent of like one of those Facebook groups where they just like take your surname and the street you grew up on. That's your Star Wars name.
Yeah. I think that's how people become Jedi and Sith. It's like if you take the first letter of your first name, blah blah, and then it'll give you like your Force name. And if it's a Darth, then obviously you're a Sith.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, or is it like with the Men in Black, where it's just like, oh, you can't be Agent M. We've already got an Agent M, so you're going to have to wait until they die. So if you lived on, Darth Avenue or something like that on Tatooine, and you had the name that's someone else's porn star name or something like that, then you can't be a Sith.
You're going to have to be a Jedi.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Bounty hunter.
Bounty hunters are pretty cool.
I'd go for that over Jedi. I'd like to be a Jedi-powered bounty hunter.
Oh, so sort of like
basically an Inquisitor.
Well, no, you'd be what's his name? Shit.
Jar Jar Binks.
No, the guy from he was in Jedi Outcast.
Ah, yeah, I know what you mean.
Ow. Shit, I can't remember his name, but that guy.
Yeah, well, post-edit. we'll have him pop up.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean he's the sort of thing. He's a bit of a rogue, bit of a rebel, but he's still got, he's still got the Force powers, and he still uses the lightsaber as and when he's needed to. But he's gone to the light side, he's gone to the dark side. He's been cut off from the Force.
He's a bi-Force user.
A bi-Force user.
A bi-Forcially man. Sounds a lot like rape. Anyway, what we have come to in terms of probably not facts, but what somebody's wrote on Wikipedia. Is Kylo Ren came to be known as Kylo Ren sometime after the Battle of Endor. As an adult, approximately 30 years later, he became a follower of the dark side of the Force and a member of the Knights of Ren. Taking on Ren as a surname, he built his own lightsaber. A dangerous and ragged design, unlike that of a typical lightsaber.
Well, that's interesting though, because it's saying that's 30 years after the Battle of Endor, but this film was supposed to take 30 years. It's supposed to be set 30 years after the Battle of Endor. Yeah. So unless this is going to be his sort of origin, because I mean, from what we've seen so far, it just seems to be him. He's already got his own private unit.
Yeah, he seems to be quite not high up, but
well, he certainly have power,
giving orders to people.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing. It's sort of like in the Empire, the Sith weren't really a part of the Empire.
Yeah. But
they still took orders from the Empire and the Emperor, and sort of high-ranking members could still tell them what to do. But you know for a fact that they would always, they wouldn't really listen, because it'd just be like, I can kill you with no effort at all. Why on earth do you think you can boss me about? Which is, I do kind of like that. They are sort of like a force into themselves.
Well, it's a lot of discipline. It's
something that the Sith are known for.
Well, no, but they've got to have a certain degree of discipline to be able to control the Force.
Yeah, true, but that's what they get from their master and
shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but as for go back to Ren. Sorry. So again, from Wikipedia, he was allied with the First Order, a military junta born from the remnants of the Galactic Empire, and he worked under the organization's leader Snoke, which I hate as a name, by the way.
Stupid name.
It's a stupid name.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
It does a little bit. Who is a powerful figure in the dark side. Ren designed the destruction of the Resistance, an organisation that opposed the First Order, so you'd assume sort of New Rebels, and the Jedi. He also engaged in confrontation with Finn, a former First Order stormtrooper, in a snowy forest.
Which we see in the trailer.
Which we do. So, I mean, anyone who's kind of committed to removing the rebels, the rebels and the Jedi, that's basically what the Sith were doing in the last three films, as in the original, the best three films, we'll call them.
The only ones.
Yeah. Their only goal really was, like, the Emperor wanted complete control, but Vader just wanted to get rid of the Jedi, Yoda and Obi-Wan and Luke. well, turn Luke, but the destruction of the rebels. Why do I keep saying rebels?
It's only me that's been drinking that.
But that was
massive drunkenness.
Yeah, he was sort of working with the Empire forces to forward that one goal of complete destruction of the rebels. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. So it could just be a similar kind of vein to that. It could be this new Kylo Ren is again sort of begrudgingly working for or with the New Order.
Yeah.
There's still a resistance to the New Order saying you still want to control everything and we're not happy with that. And it's the same thing. There's now new Jedi, or maybe old Jedi that return. Obviously, name that springs to mind,
Luke,
of course. So if Luke is the sort of sole Jedi survivor, which was supposed to be, kind of Ben Kenobi and Yoda in the best 3 films, if he's taken on a new apprentice, then again, Kylo's main objective and mission would be to wipe them out, and then with that would go down the Resistance as well.
I don't want him to do that.
It's
repeating history.
It is, but it's clearly them going down a new path for the prequel films. They said, it's not going to just all be about revenge and blah blah blah. It didn't work out particularly well for them. So if they refer to a formula that they know works, and just sort of change bits of it, and
I think if they do that, and disregarding if it does well or not, I think it'll initially please everyone.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, they'll go, actually, that's the same as the last 3.
True, but I mean, all they need to do is they need to get Star Wars back in people's good graces.
Yeah.
So,
totally honest, watching Star Wars Rebels a lot lately, and I don't know whether it's because of Battlefront, seeing the trailer for this, watching Rebels. I think Rebels is nailing it a lot.
I mean, it's still primarily a kids' cartoon, but it certainly has sort of a darker element to it as well. So it seems to fall within that universe quite comfortably. Whereas things like
canon.
It is, yeah, but so is the Clone Wars, and that
which is
really
better than the film.
I don't know. Out of the 3 of them, I'd say the Clone Wars is probably the favourite one. But it's only because of the actual war that goes on. They just have that massive thing on Genosha.
I still think the 3rd one was the best of the 3 prequels, and that's not exactly high praise.
I don't know. I think there's the only thing there's sort of like redeeming qualities within each film. So, part 1, Darth Maul. Part 2, like Mace Windu and the actual Clone War itself.
A Sith Lord.
And then part 3 is Anakin and Obi-Wan beating the shit out of each other.
And then it wasn't a particularly great fight.
I don't know, there was a lot more emotion in that than there has been in pretty much the other 2 films. I mean, Ewan McGregor's still brilliant in everything he's in anyway.
See, I still don't like him as Obi.
No, I think he's a perfect fit for it. Especially like in the 2nd and 3rd one when he's got his little beard and, he seems to suit the role.
More so as it goes on, granted.
Yeah, but it's a transition that Anakin didn't seem to be able to make.
Yeah.
He just still...
It's hard though. I mean, the only other actor I can think who's gone through the same turmoil as Hayden Christensen is Pinocchio, because they're both made of wood.
Well, yeah, but he at least became a real boy at the end.
He did, and he was an amazing actor at the end. Unfortunately,
like, yeah, his eyes all like dead and red and yellow and stuff.
Hayden Christensen just went from a wooden boy to a robot man.
It's like Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams.
But even there, though, Robin Williams is an amazing actor. So, it worked. But he is the worst thing of Star Wars. And there's quite a lot of bad. I mean, I love Star Wars, but there's a lot of flaws.
But the
biggest is Hayden Christensen.
The same can be said for the first 3 as well. I mean, none of them are perfect. It's just that when you stand them side by side, the first ones are still going to be the best ones because they're the ones who've got everyone interested.
You know what my biggest problem is with the prequels? Mine is Hayden Christensen. They explain too much. Like the first thing they say is Qui-Gon Jinn explaining that the Force, it's not this magical thing. It's Mandalorians. Everything comes back to Mandalorians through the whole thing. Whereas the
what do you mean? There are no Mandalorians.
No, but when he's explaining
Midichlorians.
Metachlorians,
You fucking mong.
fucking idiot.
Mandalorians are something completely different.
That's
That's what Boba Fett is, you idiot.
yeah. Anyway, but explaining all that, and it takes the magic away.
I don't know, because I mean,
I enjoyed the 4, 5, and 6. Just thinking, just going. Oh, I wish I was a Jedi.
I just don't think there wasn't any sense of urgency or tension, because you knew that. Yeah, you knew that this person would live, this person would live, this person wasn't in the 3, so they're probably going to die or never be seen again, which means they're going to be, there's not really much point in having them there. And that's kind of the bad thing about sort of starting a hexology. I don't know what the term for it.
It's a saga, isn't it?
Saga, yeah. Halfway through.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they made it the right decision at the time, but they said that they didn't have the ability to do the first 3 the way they wanted to.
But surely it would have been easier to start with the first one, because technology would advance as it went on. So therefore,
yeah, when you got to nowadays,
yeah,
I doubt they were planning to do another one 30 years later. Anyway, enough about the old ones.
We're talking about episode 7.
Yes,
and there's a few tidbits that we've picked out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously all of this at the moment is internet speculation, which means that the trailers could have been made and absolutely none of it will be used.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
unlikely.
The only thing we know for sure is the people that were shown are definitely in it. But the way that the trailer's actually been kind of laid out, it gives nothing away as to what the hell's going on. Everyone's sort of talking, you have no idea who they're talking to. A good example of this is when Kylo Ren is actually talking, well, what appears in the trailer anyway, to be talking to Vader's mask, saying something like, I'll pick up where you left off, or I'll continue what you started, or something like that. And the way the trailer's shown is to him, and then it cuts to Vader's mask. Now, the assumption would be that he's just simply just talking to Vader's mask, which is certainly possible, but it wouldn't really make any sense. And it doesn't mean, just because you've seen it like that, that's exactly what's happening. He could be talking to anyone, and that shot of Vader's mask could be anywhere.
Yeah.
So, although they look like they're in similar kind of environments, Vader's mask could be in a vault somewhere, it could just be in a safe or in a cave, it could be anywhere. And, when Kylo's supposed to be saying this, there's like some burning ship or something like that flying in front of him.
Yeah.
And it seems like an odd time to be monologuing to a helmet when there's shit going on.
I mean, there is the assumption that Kylo he basically collects Sith artifacts.
Yeah.
Which would explain why he's got Vader's helmet.
Yeah.
But I have also seen a theory that Luke has got the helmet and he's keeping it hidden somewhere.
Well, it's,
which makes more sense.
Well, he took the body back, so he would
Yeah.
have all the parts. So yeah, I guess that would make sense, yeah. But did they burn the mask?
It blew up, didn't it? It should do.
The ship? What ship?
The second, what's it?
Yeah, but
Sure.
he took
Oh no,
Vader.
they take it off, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yes,
put
it
Vader's
would be
body
done.
on the thing, and then they
Yeah.
fly him back and burn him. But the mask wasn't on him when he was burning,
No,
I don't think.
yeah.
So that
Yeah.
might need some explanation. It could have just aged 30 years. It might have just fell in on itself.
Possibly, yeah.
But there are a few other things that we do want to sort of bring up as well. First of all, is the Star Killer base, which looks like a brand new Death Star, but instead of building it into a easily blow-upable space station, they seem to have just literally converted a planet. So probably the power source running off the planet core or something like that. Just geothermal energy would power it
Think about
forever.
Space engineers.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, anyone who has been following Star Wars 7 developments already knows the existence of the Starkiller base. But just in case you did miss the memo, here's the deal. This base is the First Order's new super weapon, which is more powerful even than the Death Star itself, as it can destroy entire star systems, which is actually a pretty good replacement for the Empire's greatest weapon. So, that's what's lurking on the right side of the poster. But did you see the Starkiller base in the trailer?
Well, yeah. I mean, they seem to be going for a very similar kind of trench run feel from the original Death Star. But my sort of issue, well, not issue, but query, I think mainly, is if this new super weapon of theirs that can destroy entire star systems is built into a planet, how does it move? Because the Death Star could, so they fly the planet.
Yeah, you're not seeing X-Men, Days of Future Past. Take a football stadium, Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I think it's slightly bigger than. But the Death Star could move; it can fly, which is why it could move to Alderaan to blow it up. Yeah. With this, you'd have to assume though that, you know, if the weapon is maybe all around its equator or something like that, so wherever it's pointing, it can just shoot a star system, no matter how far away. But it doesn't need to move. But it seems a bit. Well, I suppose you don't need to pick out a specific planet if you're blowing up everything in it. You blow up the sun, and then everything will wipe it out. Yeah. The shockwave from that will just wipe out everything in there. So it seems like a bit of an overkill weapon, as weapons go. But
yeah, we need more information, I think.
I think so, but it's pretty clear, though. I mean, from the shots we can see with their new leader, possibly this Snoke guy, addressing their new stormtroopers. There's a couple of TIE fighters on the ground, some big laser cannons, so it's clear that this is a new base of operations for them, as well as just a super weapon.
Yeah.
But we have already seen Star Destroyers, so we know they've still got mobile, sort of.
You noticed we watched the trailer again before we started filming this, and we noticed the TIE fighter that we assume Finn is in.
Yep.
Is the only one that seems to have like a red mark on it.
It does, yeah. On the cockpit, there seems to be like a sort of a red quarter that goes from the windscreen all the way around to the back of it. And yet, on the sort of sweeping shot that we see on this new base, there are a couple of TIE fighters there, as well as a few of the TIE fighters that are just knocking about, and none of them seem to have this equal red stripe. So it's possible that if that is Finn in there, he's either stolen a special class of TIE fighter, or maybe he's a special pilot, or it's it's a new prototype, something like that. But again, it's not really clear. But when that new TIE fighter does get shot down, there doesn't seem to be a huge space battle going on. There's no other rebel ships in the area. It just seems to be that one Star Destroyer. Oh. So if he has defected, now a lot of people have said that he was in the TIE fighter that was in the hangar shooting all the stormtroopers.
Yeah,
which is certainly possible. But if you look very closely, you can see that the actual front of the TIE fighter is slightly different to the standard sort of orb sphere thing. It seems to be a bit more.
It looks very futuristic-y compared to.
It does. I mean that.
TIE fighter.
Yeah, it looks like a new version of it at least. So if he blew everything up in that one, then stole another one and was escaping in that and was shot down. But
it might be, if we don't know, this defection might have been taking place over a certain length of time.
Yeah.
And that red mark on the TIE fighter might literally just be a symbol to the rebels as they don't shoot me on your side.
Yeah, it could be. But I mean, if he was certainly defecting and shooting up the place and then was trying to escape, it would make sense that Star Destroyer would then shoot him down.
Yeah.
And then he would land on that planet. Yeah. But that's obviously on the assumption that when that TIE fighter was crashing, that was him in it, and it was landing on that planet that you see him.
Could have just been a TIE fighter crashing.
It could be literally anything at this point. They've done a really good job at keeping everything pretty close to the chest. The second point that a lot of people are talking about is when the new main female character, whose name Rey, she's crying over what appears to be a dead body in front of her. Now, there's a lot of speculation that this is actually Chewie that she's next to, which is, again, as anything in this fucking trailer could be, certainly possible.
We spent a good bit of time trying to analyse the best shot we could find of this still from the trailer, and each time you see something different, like you was convinced it's not Chewie and it was going to be Han Solo.
Well, it's either because it's simply for the fact that I don't think. People have spotted the sort of the furry stuff on the right, which I agree that certainly does look like Wookiee fur sort of floating around. But where her neckline is, there's clearly an ear there, like a human ear.
See, I still think that's a hand.
It's possible, but when the camera moves up, that doesn't move as if it's still in the actual foreground.
Yeah.
So I'm still pretty convinced that that's not Chewie. I'm hoping that is the case, because I'd really rather them not kill off one of the main characters.
Well, he doesn't want to do it, does he? He wanted to be killed off in like episode 5 or something like that.
Well, that's Han Solo who wanted to be Harrison Ford, should I say? He wanted to be killed off, but to kill off Chewie, he's a beloved character. They all are. To
Chewie's
kill off any of them would be incredibly... You'd have to do it right. It's a hell of an emotional
that's what I mean.
slap in the face.
But I also don't see them showing a death for a main character in a trailer.
Yeah, I mean, she could be behind a wall.
Could be anything.
Yeah, we don't really know, but a lot of people are sort of jumping on that as being...
Could be a fucking Ewok.
Hopefully. She's returned to Endor and then...
Well, out of the two of them, though, in all seriousness, I mean, Harrison Ford, he's getting on.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the best actors in the world, and he's loved by millions, but he can't keep doing this shit.
No, but you can just stick someone in a Wookiee costume.
Exactly.
And
Chewie could go on forever.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it wouldn't make much sense to kill off Chewie.
Yeah. I'd like to think that it's simply nothing, and then when you actually watch the film and he gets to that part, it's
fucking hell.
It's just some random dude, or it's she's next to a dead animal, or something like that. It could be anything, and everyone's just like, God, we all thought it was such and such a person getting killed off. It could, well, yeah. I mean, she's sort of in a foresty area, but it doesn't seem to be snowing, so it may be the same planet that she's on with that Finn and Kylo were fighting on at the end. But trees are trees.
Yeah.
There's no perspective on this at all. There's no reference points to give away where they are. But actually, speaking of where people are, there is a scene where quite a few eagle-eyed viewers have actually spotted a Mandalorian symbol in what looks like some sort of maybe a camp of some kind of rebel camp or a refugee camp or something like that.
Castle.
A castle could very well be. But there's a whole bunch of different flags, so these are potentially, planets of the Republic, from the old Republic, that are all sort of hanging up there as some sort of tribute to, the worlds that were wiped out, or the losses that people have made. Or it could just be...
Makes sense.
Yeah, or it could just be a collection of flags that someone's made. Or
could be someone's washing.
It could be, but the Mandalorian symbol has been spotted in there. So there's a lot of rumour that it's either something to do with Boba Fett, which is pretty unlikely considering he fell into a Sarlacc pit.
But again, the armour.
Yeah, but that was 30 years ago. Which means that this is either his brand new house and he's like, oh, Han Solo, what are you doing here? Bloody hell. How you doing, mate?
Ding dong.
But it could just be, the Mandalorians are still a sort of ragtag mercenary bunch of super fighters.
Yeah.
So, this could just be a Mandalorian encampment they're going to for backup, in some kind of rebel recruitment thing, maybe.
Makes sense.
Yep. So there's not really, again, much to go off in this. Although people are sort of speculating for Boba Fett. I still really don't get the kind of the fan hype for Boba Fett, to be honest.
Boba Fett's cool, man.
But he didn't really do anything. He was just sort of stood around doing nothing.
He didn't have to. It's like a space cowboy.
I think people just hyped him up and just got him as this sort of legend in there.
He's more of a cult status than like you say. He hasn't actually done anything to particularly earn it. No,
I mean he flew.
It's just cool.
Yeah, he got smacked in the face by Han Solo, and then that made him fire his jetpack, smack off the side of a ship, and then that doesn't sound like the best bounty hunter in the galaxy to me.
Sounds like a legend.
He just sounds like a normal stormtrooper.
He's the everyday bounty hunter. The everyman. But from that, we appear to see the actual destruction of the aforementioned place, which could possibly be Maz Kanata's castle, and it seems to be like stormtroopers are basically blitzing the place.
Well, from where we see it, I mean, there's a huge amount of X-wings flying over the lake, which is that beautiful shot that we saw from the first trailer. And they all seem to be running to, kind of defensive positions. So, if the Empire's attacked there, trying to get whatever it is, if there's, a certain person or an artifact or whatever that they're after, and then the rebels have been called in to wipe them out, which is why we see stormtroopers getting shot by X-wings and stuff, which is really cool, by the way. It's not very often that you'd see the sort of the space combat vehicles
taking out ground.
Yeah. But that also does seem to be where there's also another fight that's going on between TIE fighters and X-wings, as well as the one that seems to be over the actual Starkiller base itself.
Yeah.
There's a huge aerial battle that's going on there as well. And then there's some dialogue, believed anyway, to be between Maz and Rey. And it's likely that Rey joins the others in their trip to Kanata's castle, the aforementioned blown up place. Later shots of Rey running through the woods imply that she's managed to escape before the First Order attacked, but she's still being pursued. And there are also implications of Rey getting separated from the group, and this also could be when she and Kylo have had their first conversation. But it was apparently revealed by merchandise featuring dialogue from the film that Kylo and Rey would actually have a chat at some point, and he seemed to be trying to coerce her towards the dark side. Now, if that's the case, that obviously would mean that she would have to have some kind of relation to a Force user, or have some kind of Force-related midichlorians. She was born with shitloads of them. Yeah. She's got visions, and she seems to be better and smarter than everyone else.
I think a lot of people are hoping for it to be Han and Leia's daughter.
Yeah. I mean, that would certainly
makes sense.
It would tie together a new generation of films to the old cast. Yeah. Because it would, that sort of, like, think of Mortal Kombat 10, for God's sake. Yeah. It's the kids that go on and start the next generation. Yeah.
But this would make sense with Mark Hamill's dialogue from the teaser trailer.
Yep.
It's like, my father had it, I have it, my sister has it, you have it.
Yeah, so
that would make sense.
If she goes to... she finds Luke...
Your mom. You could see your mom.
Yeah, I suppose, but that's... I mean, well, to be fair, he didn't find out that she was his sister for a long time, so he may just bump into her, or she might go out of the way to find him, and then say, well, my family's got it, so...
Uncle Lukey.
But, if Rey and Finn are actually together when they find Luke, for example's sake, and then Luke could say, well, I'll train you, and then that's how Finn gets his hands on a lightsaber.
Possibly.
Well,
it's the blue one. Where's Luke got it back from?
Well, that's true, because in Empire Strikes Back he had a green lightsaber, because his hand went off the catwalk. That was in the Death Star, wasn't
it?
Yeah. So Vader cut his hand off, and his lightsaber went down with it. Now, I'd like to think that it was what happened in the Family Guy ones, where he got down that chute, and it's just some guy. He's just like, have you seen a hand down here? And it's just in his pants. And it's just like, no.
That was Finn.
Yeah. So what if it, there's like someone who's going to clean up after it all, and that's Kylo Ren, and he finds the lightsaber, and it's like, ooh.
Possible.
But, actually speaking of people that, come across artifacts and go, what the hell's this? There seems to be a lot of talk about, Han Solo confirming that, the Jedi and the Sith are real. They are true. I don't understand how, after 30 years, that would just sort of fade away into legend and myth.
Well, I mean, 30 years isn't necessarily a long time.
No, really. Not really. I mean, that would be like saying people would have forgotten about the Holocaust now.
Yeah.
And saying, oh no, it's a myth, no one really knows.
But I wasn't there, so...
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of evidence for it. When there's Force users and Jedi temples and all that sort of stuff. Plus, there would be history of the Jedi. Unless
to be fair, there'd only be, as far as knowledge is aware, there'd only Luke still
available for hire. Yeah,
and whoever is the next Sith, so this Snoke.
Yeah, but
Snoke, whatever his fucking name is.
If he is the new Emperor, I mean, just because he's the leader of this new order doesn't mean he's got the same levels of power as the Emperor.
He's still a Force user, according to Form. But again, we don't know how.
To what extent? Yeah. But I mean, the Emperor was like, because he could sort of work with the Jedi, and they had no idea. That's just shows how powerful he is, and the fact that he could corrupt Anakin to join him. To replace him with another guy with the same level of power.
Yeah.
And for no one to be aware as to who the Sith or the Jedi are after 30 years, I don't quite buy that. And if that's just what they're going for, the fact that everyone's just forgotten about the rebels, fucking hell. Why can't I say rebels? I keep trying to say like rebels. Fuck. Rebels in Jedi, and I seem to get the I just sort of in rebels. Fucking, I'm going to say rebels. Rebels.
Rabbis and Jebbles.
Jebbles. I just don't see how like the entire galaxy could just forget about the Jedi and the Sith and the Force.
Even though there'd only be technically two left, say this Snoke, whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah.
And Luke, but Luke's gone into hiding. That's still thousands of people who were still around when this battle took place. So 30 years isn't. It's not long enough to forget about.
No, well, I mean,
such
the
a
main
grand event.
The main Jedi temple was on Coruscant,
Yeah.
which is like one of the biggest, busiest hubs on the galaxy.
Like Manchester.
Yeah, and it was like this enormous building. So everyone was just like, "Can you remember what was there?" I think it was a museum or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
There's a post office is.
I know that they like destroyed the building and like they destroyed the temple, but it's not like no one noticed this.
Yeah.
And plus, you know, like if the
Do
Jedi,
you think there's a Nando's there now?
it's easy. But like if the Jedi Order and the Sith have been around for thousands of years, I just don't buy that after 30 they would have just totally forgotten about it. I mean, it could just be said in the context that if Rey was, because I mean, if Finn he's trained by basically the new Empire, he must be aware of what's going on.
Yeah, he's got to know about the Force.
Yeah. But if Rey was like brought up on a desolate planet in isolation, she may not be aware of it.
Well, I think because in the again, this is going from the extended universe, so it's not canon. But Han and Leia have twins.
Yep.
And they both get separated and sent away, and they're always on the move because basically for their safety. Which would explain why Rey is on her own, and you know she's living in a fucking AT-AT and just travelling and doing whatnot. So, in retrospect, she's probably just ignorant to the fact that there was Jedi's and there was Sith and whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the way that it's kind of presented by Solo. It's just like
again, this is judging it off a trailer.
I know, yeah, but it's the way that it's shown. It's just like it's this grand reveal.
Yeah,
where it's just like, because if it was like if the first ones were set 1,000 years before, and then someone was just like, yeah, I've heard of these Jedi things. There are a story, and he's just like, no, it's all true. Yeah. The Jedi, the Sith, all of it, it's all true. Then it's just like, holy shit. But it's just like, yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
So was he, and yeah, like everyone's still there.
Well,
plus,
I don't think Rey would have been there.
No, but like if like all the sort of like, because all the equipment they use is all X-wings and all that sort of stuff. So that's all stuff from the original Rebellion.
Yeah.
So if the Rebellion won, why are these new rebels using the same
equipment?
Yeah, exactly. Which means that, you know, after the Empire fell, the remnants of that, because obviously when the Death Star blew up, that wasn't like all the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
So they've, you know, sort of regathered their forces, rebuilt a new kind of power, and that seems to be what's trying to take over.
Yeah.
And then the rebels from the previous ones, you know, basically just kept an active rebel. God damn it! Why can I not? Fuck me. But that sort of like remnant of their forces still exists to kind of keep that side of the galaxy, in check. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. They're just sort of on like damage control, just in case something like the Empire comes back, or there's more Sith. Then they have the means and the tools to fight it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense because they would have got rid of all the fighters, or everything would be the same.
Yeah.
So I'm really keen to see how they do explain everything away. But we'll round this off with the sort of the most intriguing element, really. I mean, well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like the Falcon flying around and taking pot shots at by random TIE fighters, and oh man, just the whole thing is just amazing. If the films are shit, at least we have the trailers.
At least we got Battlefront.
Battlefront would be way better if the film's shit, yeah. But yeah, the end of the trailer.
Yeah, obviously, two of the biggest things in any Star Wars film is Sith and Jedi.
Yep.
And lightsabers. That's three things.
Yeah.
But ever since Finn was shown wielding Luke Skywalker's, possibly, anyway, his lightsaber in the teaser trailer, fans have speculated that Skywalker may be training Finn to be a Jedi. This obviously would have a huge impact on the story. But with Luke Skywalker in hiding, it seems more likely that Finn acquired the lightsaber by chance, and he hasn't yet been trained in how to use it. This conclusion seems to be supported by the new trailer, which shows Finn in an awkward stance as Kylo Ren menacingly approaches with his beady, sexy new dark. His lightsaber is pretty sweet. I'll give him that. It really has grown on me. But I mean, it's an interesting argument to say that, you know, he's kind of in the middle of training. Like say like when Luke is with Yoda on Dagobah, and then all of a sudden Vader showed up, like he'd be shitting his pants, because you know it's one thing to carry a little green gremlin around on your back and do backflips and stuff,
But it's another to take on like a fully trained, trained for decades. He's been wiping people out, and then all of a sudden you're now a Jedi. Here's your lightsaber, off you go, fight evil. So it could be a similar sort of situation. But the fact is, if Kylo Ren is also some sort of like a scavenger for Sith artifacts and things, that would mean that no one would have traded him, because Vader's dead, the Emperor's dead. There wouldn't be anyone ready to fill that kind of master-apprentice role. Yeah, but there's so many...
You can train from holocrons.
Yeah, but there's a lot of documented Force-sensitive species in the Star Wars universe. So humans, I don't think, typically are. Not in the same way, like every person in a specific species are all... like the Vasari, is it? From Knights of the Old Republic? Who's... The woman, the blind woman.
Yeah, Jesus.
Visas or something. I can't remember. But their species are all Force sensitive.
Yeah.
Whereas with humans, it just seems to be like a random percentage depending on the midichlorian count.
It's probably a bad. That fly's back there.
I know, yes, yeah.
We've had a fly attacking us all day. It's probably a bad way to put it, but when people say 1 in 5 people will be gay.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same drop where not everyone's going to be gay.
Yeah. So I'd like to think this is just some guy who, maybe unknowingly, he can sort of convince and collude people to doing his bidding kind of thing. So that's how he convinces people to join his cause.
Yeah.
Whereas that's why he's...
Prime Minister.
Kind of. Satire. Zing. Whereas Kylo is like an active follower of the sort of the Sith arts and has trained himself.
And there's a chance he might be. There's a chance he still could be an Inquisitor.
Yeah, that would be pulling. That means that they would have to explain it in the film, because even the biggest Star Wars fans aren't going to go and watch Disney XD and watch Star Wars Rebels.
True.
So there's only so much you can really pull from something outside of the mainstream. Otherwise, that's kind of why they had to get rid of the expanded universe, because it's so big and convoluted that in order to if they just introduce someone like oh man, that guy's name is going to really bug me now. The guy from Jedi Outcast, anyway.
Yeah.
I keep going to say Cartha Nasi, but he's from Knights of the Old Republic, which is, again, it would be an awesome reference, but it's an expanded universe and it doesn't count.
I've sensed a theme with this, though, since Disney have acquired both Marvel and Disney. And they've consolidated both laws into one simple, streamlined.
As in, I think it's just so it's easier to approach.
I guess, but...
Because, if you, sort of 5 or 6 years ago, if you said, I want to get into Spider-Man, and you went up to a comic book guy or someone who just is into comic books and stuff, and you said, I want to get into Spider-Man, where should I start? And they go, take your fucking pick. Yeah. It will make no difference. Just start with episode, it's like season 1 or series 1.
Issue.
Yeah, issue. That's the word I'm looking for. Start with issue 1. It doesn't matter which one, and then if you like it at the end of that, then
carry on.
Yeah, but there'll be people that pop in there, and you're like, who the fuck's this guy? And then you have to check the internet as to who that was anyway.
Yeah.
So if they can just sort of amalgamate it down into one string, and then anyone can come into that and be an expert on it, because all you would have had to have done is just watch the films.
That's the beauty of making a new trilogy, though. Well, it's probably going to be more than a trilogy. But
well, if these pick off really well, then yeah.
If all new characters though, that you only got to introduce as they come into it, and not this is their backstory. You're going to have to go and read 17 issues.
Yep.
And to read all about the Red Isles. But no, it's a smart move, and I think as long as they explain who Kylo Ren is, who Rey is, who Finn is.
Yeah. They don't need to explain who Han Solo, Leia, Skywalker, R2D2. None of them.
Back characters.
Yeah.
Explain where Luke's been, maybe.
Well, it would just be...
Been anywhere.
Yeah, that would be the thing. It would be, what have you been up to over the last 30 years? Oh, I've been smuggling.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's what we thought you'd do.
To be fair, though, it might have been the text call at the beginning.
That would be...
Skywalker's been in hiding for the last 30 years.
Well, that's what Obi-Wan Kenobi did.
Yeah.
He just retreated to Tatooine, and that's where he stayed until Luke was ready to join him.
Until he found Luke, and then... Well,
so, I mean, it's possible that, Luke's just gone... Because, I mean, when we see what is supposedly Luke Skywalker with R2-D2, it's still in although it's very dark, there's clearly big rocks and stuff around, so it's possible that he's back on Tatooine.
Makes sense.
So...
But to be fair, the only draw we're getting off that it is Luke is... it's his right hand, and it's prosthetic, like
Yep.
android cyborg type hand.
Yep.
And even though he is in a black cloak, he has a white
sort of
suit,
under.
so
Yeah.
which is typical.
Yeah.
Typically worn by a Jedi. So, and it's R2D2. So
Well, it would make sense that he would stay with him. So he'd have C-3PO and R2-D2 with him to, make his own holocrons or something like that. But I mean, if the Force is all destiny and all that sort of stuff, all he'd have to do is just go to a place which is strong in the Force.
Yeah.
Tatooine is obviously where he grew up. It's where Darth Vader grew up. So, the sort of the pull of the Force would pull other Jedi or Force users towards him.
Yeah.
But then when we do see Captain Phantasma, Phantasma. It sounds like a magician.
You bloody rebile.
They're in like a sort of a dark, sort of desolate world.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be those sort of like hut things, like the Sand People had. So it's again possible that they're there looking for him, or someone's gone there to find Luke and then they followed them, or something like that. But we just don't know.
We don't know anything.
We just don't know.
And on that note, we're going to wrap it up because we can speculate and theorise until our arses hang out.
Yeah.
But we won't know until December
16th?
18th.
18th, yeah.
December 18th.
Well, this is now the 30th of October. This is what we think is probably going to happen. And if any of it's true, we're going to be high-fiving ourselves for days, I think.
And if it's wrong, we won't care because we'll have seen Star Wars.
Yeah, and all we'll be doing is just playing Battlefront and just desperately wanting the next one to come out.
Yeah.
Which won't be for like another 3 years or something
But
stupid.
Free Episode 7 DLC.
Yay!
Excellent.
Battle of Jakku.
Bless you. Have you got anything to add, sir?
No, really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing.
It is.
And
Very much looking
I
forward.
think there's going to be a lot of bias on it, so even if it's terrible, I think people will just say, well, it's better than the other three.
It's better than 1, 2 and 3
Yeah,
put
so
together, so
7 out of 10.
win-win.
Yep.
9 out of 10. Too much water. Bye.
Bye!
Yours feels heavier than mine.
It's got more porn on it.
I doubt that.